So we've got our pattern playing here. It sounds pretty close to what we want. We've got all the drums on their own mixer channel so that we have control. But if I turn this off and we just listen to the original, how we want this to sound, you can hear that it's considerably different because of the effects and because of the filter, especially this channel 8. And if you notice here, channel 8 does not say redrum number channel 8. It actually says the filter. But this is what it's doing. That's actually the first step of what we're going to do to get this to sound closer at the end. So the first thing we want to do is we're actually going to move the channel 8 on the redrum, and we're going to input that into the filter and then have the filter go to the mixer. So we're going to hit tab, turn things around, and then again, now with all these chords, this gets really hard to sort things out. So I in fact like to turn off the cables so they're not showing. You can see the cables are plugged in by the motion here, and if you highlight over top you can see this is connected. I want to disconnect channel 8 and reconnect it to the filter left and right. So that's now going to the filter, so we'll move to the filter, and we want the filter out to go to channel 8. So if we look at our mixer, you can see that the filter is now, channel 8 is now got the filter on it, and even though it's not set up exactly the way that we want it, you can hear that it has changed the sound of that hi-hat because it is now going through the filter, and the filter is then sending it on to the mixer. But we're not quite done with that, but we've got the idea. The next step that we're going to do is we want to use these matrix sequencers. So they just generate patterns, wave patterns. We want to use them to control, I'll just turn that off, to control different aspects of the sounds. They're not going to produce sounds, but they're going to control different aspects of the sound. So the first one, the matrix 1, and it's already set up here, but it needs to be unipolar. So you come around to hit tab, come around to the back, and what we want to do is make sure that it's on unipolar, and we want to send it to the frequency CV of the filter. So we right click on this curve CV and go to the filter, frequency CV. So it's going to be changing the frequency of the filter, and frequency is high and low sounds. Then we're going to make sure that the curve is set, that we are at 32 steps over here. Then we draw with the mouse. It's already drawn, but we should have drawn this pattern, and then we turn it on and run it. Now if we play this, and again we're just hearing the filter sound here, you can hear that it's changing. It's going from low sounds of the hi-hat to high sounds of the hi-hat. So that's being controlled. Just turn this off a second. The second matrix is going to control the pan of that same channel. So we're going to go to the second matrix, hit tab, and we want it to be bipolar. It's going to have an up and down, so a negative and a positive, because it's going to have a left and right. It's going to affect the left and right, which is the panning. So we are going to send its curve not to the mixer and to channel 8 pan. So it's going to affect the panning of channel 8, which is the filter sending. We're going to hit tab, turn this around. Again, make sure this is on curve. Make sure this is on 32 steps. And we're going to sort of draw more of a up and down, and you can play with this, but it's basically going down. In this case, this would be left, this would be right. So if we run this and run our, now we're getting the frequency of the highs and lows of that channel 8, sorry, up here, channel 8, the filter being controlled by the first matrix sequencer. The second matrix sequencer is actually panning it left and right, so it's sort of sweeping across, and then we can hear it mixed. So we're getting closer to the sounds. The final stage is to set up the actual settings that we want for these effects machines. So we're going to come down here, and on the mixer, all the returns, which is all three effects, are going to be set to 100, and then we're going to have these settings on the different drums, and I will solo each drum so you can hear what it does. So Okay, so we're going to run this pattern. We're going to start with drum 2, so we'll solo drum 2. All of these returns need to be 100, and that's 100, that's 100, that's 100. So if you remember, the first auxiliary is a delay, which is going to sort of create an echo. The second one is going to distort the sound. The third one is reverb, which is kind of an echo machine. Turn it down a little bit, but you can hear that. So that's just running. So we want to set it to 24, 76, and 30. So 24. You hear that extra little echo coming in here? All right, 24, 76, and 30. All right, so now the distortion is 76. Close enough. And then 30 for the reverb. There, here we get our echo. And then the fader, which is this, is going to go to 66. Pretty close. And I'll just turn this up so you can hear a bit better. Okay, so that is that drum. The next drum is 6. Okay, so 6 is 28, 101, and 89. So 28. Now we're getting that little echo from the delay. 101, which would be distortion. 89, and then 96 for the fader. So 89 for number 3, which is our reverb. And 96 for the actual fader. Now we'll move to our filter, which is that hi-hat sound. And all we're going to do with the filter is just set its fader to 127, which is maximum. So we're just going to bring this all the way up. And now, okay, and now channel 10, we are going to set its auxiliary 1 to 31, which is the delay. That's all we're going to do, and set its fader to 110. So we're going to put a bit of a delay, 31. You can hear that extra notes coming in, the delay. And then set it to 110. So we're getting closer to our sound, but these effects need to be set now. So the delay is 3 steps, feedback at 30, and dry wet to 127. 3 steps it's already at. Feedback is 40, so we're going to notch it back to 30. And the 127 is already there. Let's actually just set this on, we'll solo one of these tracks so we can hear what it does. Now, the next thing is the reverb is going to be set to a small room. So right now it's Hall. So that changes the echo. And then the one that's really going to make a difference is this filter. So the frequency to 46, the resonance to 101. So 46. This is going to make a big difference. Here's the resonance to 101. Oh, but actually we're only going to hear that on the filter on channel 8, so we'll do that. So let's do this resonance to 101. See, we're getting closer to the sound. And then the envelope amount to 32, which is right here. And it's already there. So there is the finished product. All done.